All right, let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
It is. Yep, there it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, as I was saying, embracing emotional connection with colors. And so, before we dive in, I just kind of want to do a quick rundown of some common color schemes. And keep in mind, every color has both a positive and a negative connotation with color. It depends on kind of the context in which the colors being viewed. Obviously, different cultures have different meanings for colors. Like white um, in America is often for like weddings and purity and this kind of stuff. In other places, it's kind of like a sombering death kind of aspect for color. So here's some
Hmm.
common ones. We have monochromatic, complementary, analogous, and triad. And monochromatic, this is a painting I did a while ago, and as you can see, this is just painted with red. And so you have the
I love
effect of
it.
it is everything is very unified and it can be calming, but it can also feel flat unless it's balanced with value contrast. And emotionally monochromatic schemes are often soothing and can emphasize a specific emotion tied to that color. So they're, especially for beginning exercises, they're really fun to play with just doing monochromatic. And it's actually kind of hard, I think, to paint with just the one color and then black and white. I actually didn't use black in this. I think I ended up using ultramarine blue with a little bit of raw sienna instead for my black, which I like using better. Um,
I've
Complementary
heard
colors.
recently about that. People
What's
using blue to see, what is it, CNY for the undertone for red. That's
Yeah, like
awesome.
so like you can paint with black, um, but I find painting with black to make colors very like flat and it makes it
Yeah.
feel just like there's something like kind
Muddy.
of fake feeling about it. Um,
Mm.
and so instead of using black, I'll always mix my own black. Like even if it's a black and white painting, like if you mix like red and green, you can get like towards a blackish color. You can use
Mm.
orange and blue. I'm doing a painting right now where I'm using ultramarine blue and a little bit of cad red, and then I'm putting like Van Dyke brown in it, and it makes a really nice black color that has, depending on how much blue or how much red you put in it, you can go like a little bit more on the red spectrum, or you can go a little bit more on the blue spectrum. And it just has like a nice richness to it. I find mixing color like that instead. Like I did an entire monochromatic series and they're called Crimson and Verdant, and they look black and white, but it's all painted with green and red, mixing them together, various um, proportions of it to get my blacks instead.
I've also heard actually yesterday, because I'm like a forever student. I just keep ingesting information as much as possible.
Awesome.
When you use undertone with like blues and reds and create your own black, it actually adds a lot more depth to the image itself. So that way it's not showing up as flat as you were mentioning. And it gives it
Yeah,
a bit more dimension and more life into the image that you're trying to create.
absolutely. And for like underpainting, it'll vary for a lot of my paintings, but I'll tend to underpaint with like an orange. Like I'll use like cad orange and cad yellow and I'll mix them together and I'll underpaint with that. And even if I'm going to be completely covering up that orange, I find that it gives like if I paint on it with blue, I find that it just gives like a nice like warmth to the painting. So if
Hmm.
you're going to do something that was like you wanted more cool, maybe you underpaint like a bluish color or a green. I've been experimenting with underpainting with like alizarin crimson. I can never say that word, and cad red mixed together, and I find that it gives like a nice like kind of pinkish color, and it's kind of fun when you don't fully paint over it because you get like these pops that pop through the paint, and it's just like a little nice texture kind of nuance to add to the painting other than it just being like a flat your color over the top of it.
I'm like writing all this down.
So complementary colors, these are pretty common. These are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So for example, red and green, um, blue and orange, purple and yellow. And they're high contrast, they're dynamic, and they're attention grabbing. And it creates visual energy and or tension. It's great for drama and or making elements stand out. I actually did a oil pastel over during the
Mm,
pandemic, and I used the complementary colors, and by stacking, like say you take red and green of the same saturation, you uh, paint them next to each other. When a person stares at it, it'll actually make their eyeballs kind of vibrate. And
oh,
it's a cool trick to play with, especially if you want to like have some kind of like tension or some kind of like focus or whatever kind of like psychological thing you're trying to do with it. So like if you stacked yellow and or I mean purple and yellow next to each other on a painting, the same saturations, you could get that same kind of effect by somebody staring at those colors. It creates like this chatter in your eyeballs. And I'd recommend like doing an experiment with it. It's kind of crazy what it can do. And I'll show you in a little bit. I have a photograph from a museum and the artist did that and I love the painting. Here's obviously a very famous example of complementary color palette, Van Gogh's
mm,
Starry Night. And I just love how like this yellow and orange kind of pop with this blue background and even these buildings down here. It really makes things stand out and the vibrance of them. And so,
one of my
but-
favorite painters.
what's that?
He's one of my favorite painters.
Oh, he's absolutely incredible. Yeah, and it's like just this it's such a simple color palette but it's so effective and sometimes like less is more and obviously like he has like the variations in here of the lighter blue and then darker and whatnot but it really stands out. Here's some examples from film and as you can see
Oh,
like La La Land like you have this nice
the
purple
yellow and the
and
purple. Ah,
yeah, and she just pops like so much with obviously
mm-hmm.
like they're lit to pop, but like even if they were dimly lit, like this yellow against this purple, she would just stand out. Another common one in film is teal and in orange, and it's actually kind of like made fun of because of how often it's used, but it's a nice contrast of color. It makes things stand out. Amelie does a really nice job of using like a weird color palette, the red and green. Um, and look at like she just stands out so much against this like completely saturated green background. Another good example, I don't have a still here, but if you ever watch the movie City of Lost Children, it's all green and red color palette as well. And it has kind of like a sickly feel to it, but at the same time a little bit like whimsical. And it's a really strange color palette, I think, to use. But Jean-Paul Junet, I think is the director's name. He does a great job working with these really vibrant color palettes. Analogous colors are next to each other on the color wheel. For example, like you have this teal blue or blue green, sorry, green, and then yellow green. And the effect of this is they're harmonious, it's peaceful, it's cohesive, and it's great for creating a sense of calmness and unity. And emotionally analogous palettes are soothing and pleasant, and they're perfect for tranquil or natural scenes. So Claude Monet, he obviously was a complete master of this, and it's like a really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful painting of analogous where you have this blue green, you got the actual like um, green blue in here, then you have like some yellow green, then yellows, and it all works together. Even like this back here in the back, if I did a color pick on this, I'm guessing it'd be like towards this green blue kind of spectrum of it and it all works together. Moonlight, if you haven't seen this movie, this is a great movie for just learning how to use color to represent like a character's journey. And this color palette it's a good example of an analogous color palette. It has the vibrant array of blues and purples and greens, and this movie actually is just like filled with colors. It's a pretty sad movie at parts, but it has great color work in it. Then we go to triadic, and triadic colors are colors that are arranged evenly spaced around a color wheel, and one should be dominant and the others can kind of accent, and it'll give you a vibrant feeling even if the hues are quite unsaturated. And triadic is one of the least common color schemes in film, and it's a little bit difficult to create, but it can be quite striking when it's done. Here's like a painting example of a triadic color scheme, and this boat just really just pops, and you have like such beautiful like sunset colors, um, and everything is just feels very vibrant, kind of how the contrast of complementary colors, but obviously you have this third color and there, kind of it creates a unity for it. Here's an example in film. It's a little bit more subtle, but these were often used in like the 1970s film. And so again, you got the red, the blue, and you have yellow up here. Their skin is kind of a yellowish tone, not super yellow, but it's a little bit more subtle. But this image is just balanced, just I mean, compositionally, obviously, but color-wise, it all balances out. Then we come to split complementary, which is it's really similar to complementary colors, but instead of using the direct opposite, so like green and red, we're using green in this violet color and this red orange color. And it has the same high contrast effect, but less tension than complementary colors. Another example, it's of this boat. You got nice like unity in the color, and this boat really just it stands out. Like Gamachi pops against this orange, and it really just kind of like draws you in. Obviously, compositionally it draws you in, but color-wise it draws you in as well. In film, this is a nice split complementary colors scene from the Coen brothers Burn After Reading. And so you have the red, green, and then you have teal all around them. And even in the shadows here, you have like a nice teal color. Their skins are kind of this reddish teal kind of mix between them. And it ties everything together very nicely. The last one we have is tetradic colors, and it consists of four colors that are arranged into two complementary pairs. And the result is you get a full palette with many possible variations, as most of these colors are harmonious and one is usually dominant. So you have obviously the complementary color of green is red, and then of this blue, you have this orange. And this is a very vibrant kind of full color palette that's pretty fun to look at and all balanced out. And then from film, you have a nice array of color as well, where you have this fun kind of scene. Um, so why does color matter? Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt at peace or unknown or uneasy, and but you didn't really know why? So for me, the first time, like I used to work at Disney, I was an apprentice animator at Disney. And when you go
Ooh.
through the training at Disney, they they bring you in for orientation. And this hat in the hat building is actually an office. And the office, it used to be Roy Disney's office. And it's this conical shape office. And it's funny because when you went in for orientation, we're all kind of sitting there on this couch, and the people across from us, they have these binders, and everybody's nervous to be there. You're at Disney, and you don't want to like mess up or anything. You're kind of going through orientation, and they're kind of just smirking at us with this weird look on their face, and like I was feeling like kind of queasy and a bit off and just weird being in this office, and I couldn't figure out why. And they stopped and they asked it, does anybody else feel seasick? Anybody feeling off? And we were all like, yeah, like what's going on? And in the office, it has like about midway up, it has the wallpaper is like pink and yellow stripes.
Yep, I knew it was pink.
Yeah, pink and yellow stripes, and then because of the shape of the hat, it makes you feel
Ugh.
like everything is moving, and you feel so like Roy. I think Roy only had the office for, I could be wrong on the time. It was a short amount of time, like a week or something. He had it as an office, and then he had to move out of it because it was just making him sick all the time. And so it's like the color, like the power of color and like these combinations of color and the shapes of them, how they can create movement, and how I was mentioning like stacking complementary colors next to each other, you can make people's eyeballs vibrate. Like there's so much that can be done with color, and it's such a powerful tool for us psychologically, mentally, physically, all sorts of aspects to it that have power over us. And outside forces such as clutter, they can have a big impact on us. Like if you're in a really messy room, you might feel like kind of agitated, um, or
Mm.
off, but color also can have a big impact on us. This is what I was talking about. Like this image is in LACMA, or no, this is in the Broad in LA. And I love these paintings, and you stare at these things, and your eyes just go completely nuts. And it's like, you have this
Yeah,
vibrant green against this red, and then you have this blue. And but the thing is, the blue's not a square. If this was a rectangle like this is, I don't know if it would have the
yeah.
same effect for me, but because of my eyes are just like bouncing
It's
back and
freaking
forth
me
on
out.
this, then I have this shape, and then it kind of like allows you to flow around it, and it's just like it's a weird experiment with just basic shapes and color, and it's so powerful. Just this aspect of creation. So obviously, there's a lot of like
Mm.
psychology behind color. And our eyes and our brains, they process different wavelengths of light, which influences our hormones, our heart rate, and even our appetite. So, for example, red can raise our heart rate and our blood pressure, creating a sense of urgency or excitement. Blue can slow the heart rate down and calm us down, and yellow can stimulate the brain, helping with focus and attention. And I was actually reading this study. They they did a study with eating and blue plates. And if you have a blue plate, females were less affected by it, but men were more affected by it. But the blue plate, it caused men to eat less food. And even blue lighting
Interesting.
causes to eat less food. So if you're trying to diet, maybe try getting some blue plates and see what it does. And it it's they were thinking because of like in nature there's not really that many things that are blue that we can eat, and so maybe that's why it's off-putting. But there's all sorts of cool like psychology with these colors, and emotionally they influence us a ton too. Colors can evoke immediate emotional responses. For example, warm colors, reds, orange, yellows, they tend to energize us, and they create a feeling of passion, excitement, or warmth. And cool colors such as blue, green, and purples, they tend to relax us, creating feelings of calm, peace, or even sadness. The emotional impact is why marketers, interior designers, and artists use color strategically to shape experiences. Psychologically, association, we learn to associate certain colors with particular meanings through culture conditioning and personal experiences. So, red here tends to mean stop or danger. If you watch horror movies, notice there's generally some kind of red element in the scene before something crazy happens. It's like in the movie It, the clown character is
The
literally
balloon.
carrying around a red balloon.
Yeah.
And so they have these kind of um, cultural conditioning meanings for them. Greens often mean go and nature and growth. Blue means trust, dependability. You can often think about like corporate logos for this. Like if you think about airlines, they often use blue, and it's like a blue is like a calming, trusting kind of um, color that they use for it. And different cultures assign different meanings to colors. Like I was mentioning in the beginning, white is purity and weddings in the Western cultures, but it's mourning and funerals in Eastern cultures. Red is good luck in Chinese culture, but it can mean anger
Mm-hmm.
or warning in others. And understanding these cultural meanings is important for global communication with design and marketing. Um, so let's look at a company that's mastered the psychology of color and marketing. And it's kind of funny because McDonald's colors are red and yellow, and red it can actually make you eat more, and
Mm-hmm.
yellow can make you eat faster. And so they want you to feel energized and excited with their color palette. And subliminally, it creates just like such a powerful reaction in us. And I pulled this logo up. I think this is actually in France, I think it was, that their logo is this green and yellow. But if you look at this, it's like far less appealing than this red and yellow. The red and yellow has like this really fun, energetic feeling, and this green and yellow to me kind of like it almost looks like it's like a waste
Gotta say it's a little,
management company.
I was gonna say that or a little sickly for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, totally. It's like it's weird looking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
companies that are like in the organic space, they tend to use more earth tones, and it
Mm-hmm.
reminds us of that the product is natural. So like here's some examples of more earth tony kind of logos. And whether these companies are organic or not, the colors they give us a feeling that they are organic, and we kind of trust that it's organic based off of these colors and kind of what we feel from the colors in general. Um, colors impact our behaviors and our decisions. So, for example, red is passion, love, and anger. Orange, excitement and energy. Yellow is cheerfulness and joy. Green is nature and money. Blue, like I was saying, is loyalty, honesty, and reliability. Purple is creative, mystery, and royalty. White is often simplicity. Black, power and exclusivity. And pink is romance and love. And these movie stills I thought were awesome because their color palettes are so vibrant. And all of these scenes, they have emotional um, meanings for using these colors, like blue and loyalty, like in Blade Runner, like his dude is supposed to be incredibly loyal. And so next time you're watching a
Yeah.
movie or TV or anything, like look at the colors and kind of think about, oh, okay, well, why are they using these colors? Are they trying to like everything is done for a reason. Movies, television, commercials, they don't just arbitrarily use a color. There's always some kind of manipulation of the
Intention.
viewer that's going to be taking place. Like video games, exact same thing. Like you're trying
Yeah.
to like take a viewer through an experience and to have them react to it. And so it's no different in painting, obviously. Like you're doing the exact same thing, except you're working on like brush stroke by brush stroke kind of creation. Oh wait, oh, and there's a study that they found that students who saw the color red before exams, they scored 20% lower than those who saw green or black. And red is often associated with mistakes, danger, or
Mm-hmm.
failure, especially in academic
Mm-hmm.
settings. Thought that was kind of crazy. Like
That
just
makes sense.
going in for
If
a
it's all the
test.
red
Oh,
pen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look at red.
Good
And
to know.
yeah, in sports, this one is kind of wild too. The
Oh my
studies found
God.
that they did this study in the Olympics, and they found that teams that wore red uniforms, they tend to be more successful, and athletes wearing black uniforms were more likely to receive penalties. And
Whoa.
yeah, the color triggered perception of aggression or dominance, even when the behavior didn't change. And I'm a hockey fan. I grew up playing ice hockey, and I thought this was kind of interesting. The most successful ice hockey teams, and of throughout time, the Montreal Canadiens are by far the most successful, and their color is red. Next is Blue Leafs. Then you have the Detroit Red Wings, which obviously they're red as well. And you come down here, you got the Blackhawks. Even for like the gold medal countries, Canada, number one, their colors are red and white. And it's like then you got like down here at the bottom, you got Soviet Union. The US is too. Obviously, we have red in our uniforms. And I just think it's kind of even since most wins since 2000, like if you look here, red, 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 red,
That's
red, red, red,
crazy.
red, red. So it's like if
If
you're
I was a
betting,
team member, I would be like, let's change the color of our uniforms, man.
yeah, exactly. Or
It's
if
not
you're
helping
betting
us.
on a sports game, if the team's wearing red, maybe that's the team to go with. The other
You know
guy's
what
got
also
black on,
reminds
there's
me
gonna
of
be more
too?
penalty.
When you're
Obviously, this
driving,
what's that?
when you're driving too, think about it. If you have a red car, you're more likely to get pulled over. But if your
Yep.
car is black or like silver or white, you're less likely to get pulled over or seen.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I didn't even think about all these things. This is so
It
cool.
yeah, it's amazing. It's like all these little things that we just kind of take for granted, but it's like if you sit there and observe it, they're so meaningful. Even in casinos, they
Oh
found
my
that if you
God.
red tablecloths, it's more likely to keep people there gambling longer versus blue tablecloths. They found people will get up and walk away sooner. And I thought this image was kind
Yeah.
of funny. It's like you got this red tablecloth and they're having like a party, and then this whole casino's empty and it's all blue.
I would change the blue to red.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, color as a healing therapy. Obviously, there's a lot of people that do healing therapy with
Mm.
color as well. It's called chromotherapy, and it's an ancient
Hmm.
practice. It's still used today by in holistic circles. And here's how the colors were, and sometimes still are used for healing. Red stimulates energy and circulation. Yellow
Hmm.
boosts mood and mental clarity. Orange increases energy and heals the lungs. Blue calms and soothes pain. Indigo is said to help with skin conditions. And
Which
I
one?
found this study, and while modern psychology remains
Mm.
skeptical of chromotherapy, studies have shown the potential benefits such as reduced stress and compassion fatigue in the ICU
Oh.
nurses exposed to calming colors and
Mm.
environments, which I thought was really cool, especially if you're in ICU. It's got to be a very stressful place to work day in, day out, and then if there's like a tweak or something that you can do with colors to help alleviate that, I think that's pretty amazing.
I think also as a nurse, as they buy the outfits stuff too, if they know about the chromotherapy, that they could probably wear the uniforms in certain colors to actually alleviate some of the pain and tensions that the patients may be feeling
Absolutely. Like I've
overall.
seen a lot of nurses that have like the bluish kind of color gowns on there, and again, that's like trust, calming,
Mm.
um, and so it's
Wild.
yeah, it's really cool how like you can do that, and like say the nurses came in with like a bright red uniform, you if you're in the hospital, you're probably going to feel even more agitated and maybe not really
Hmm.
trusting of that person. Like, what are you doing with that needle? Like, can you get away from me? Um, so what do you do with all this information? Like, we went through a lot of stuff. Like, what do you do with it? Like you're mentioning the clothing and stuff. And so everyday impact clothing, what you wear can affect how people see you and how they feel about you, and even how you feel about yourself. So literally changing
Interviews.
Yeah, changing your color, your wardrobe. If you want to feel a little bit more energized, maybe you put on a different color for the day. And how that
Ooh.
can like have other people react with you. We often can't change all of our environments around us, but you can usually decorate in some manner. And so you can put up paintings. You could put up different color paintings. You could paint the walls, different aspects of different color to kind of energize you. Like, what do you put around you, and how does that make you feel? Um, Companies, obviously, they use this all the time. And as I showed the different logos and stuff. And so think about this when you're reacting to something. Like, are you reacting because that's really how you should be reacting, or is there some kind of color that's playing off on
Mm.
you? Like, what's happening? Like, are you feeling something that you weren't before? So kind of just being aware of your surroundings, like what's around you, what's affecting you, and how it might be affecting you. And once you start to become aware of these things, it's really powerful, like how you understand like what's going on, like why you're reacting this way, maybe why you're getting agitated, if you need to calm yourself, whatever. Um, Artists obviously use this intentionally to guide emotions, viewers, like I was showing that image from the Broad with the red and green and blue, and everybody's probably going to have a different emotional experience with that. But it definitely they're going to have some kind of emotional experience. And so in your paintings, if you want people to have an emotional experience, think about the color and how it can affect people. Like, are you maybe you're painting a horse, like does the horse have to be brown? What if you painted the horse purple and you put it on a bright yellow field? Like, that horse is gonna pop like crazy, and it's gonna have a completely different emotional experience than if it was a brown horse with like a greenish like grass field or something. um Picasso obviously had the blue period, and it was filled with melancholy and
Mm.
introspection.
The best.
And then Van Gogh, with his yellow and oranges, he created feelings of warmth, passion, and energy. Um,
Okay.
in film and animation, color grading is huge for creating emotions. If you do a Google search for color scripts, um, you can look up films it'll be just like a long horizontal strip of an entire film or scenes of it, and it's just all color. And it's really cool to see how the color will shift from scene to scene, um, and different emotional moments in the movie and what colors they use. Like, if you look at the Matrix, they'll use like a lot of greens and those kind of
Mm.
colors in there, and it has like kind of like a sickly kind of weird feeling to it. And it's very like an intentional thing, obviously. And looking at color scripts is a pretty cool thing in general. Like, animated films have a lot of color scripts. Like, Finding Nemo has a really interesting color script. Obviously, like the main character, Marlin, I think his name is. He's got a
Mm.
like in the beginning, obviously you have the really bright, fun colors when he's with his family, and then his family is killed and it's just Nemo, and then it goes through like kind of like dark periods, and then he has like a whole emotional journey, and the color really guides you through this emotional journey.
I'm gonna have to watch it again with new eyes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now that you've kind of like been exposed to this more, just next time you're watching a movie or TV or playing a video game or whatever, just look at this stuff and like study it. In short, color shapes our mood, decisions, and experiences, whether we're aware of it or not. That's why it's such a powerful tool for artists, designers, and marketers, and anyone who wants to create a specific emotional impact. So, I love this quote by Picasso: "Colors, like features, follow the changes of the emotions." And in a world saturated with color, our minds are constantly reacting, even if we're not conscious of it. By paying attention to how color influences your feelings, you can better understand your surroundings, your decisions, and yourself. So the next time you're feeling uninspired or stuck creatively, change your color, literally, and try wearing red. Paint your space soft green, or just step outside and observe how the colors of nature affect your emotions. Because as Picasso knew, color moves with our emotions. And when you learn to wield it with intention, it becomes one of your greatest tools for self expression, healing, and impact.
Hmm.
Thank you all so much. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I love this. This was amazing.
Awesome.
I've like I've basically have like new eyes to how I want to look at color now. I have new things to research, and I told you I'm a forever student. I love learning new things, and now I'm gonna put into practice. I really
Awesome.
like your quote for Picasso. I love Van Gogh personally. Um, 2 years ago, I live in North Carolina, specifically like Raleigh area, so I'm close to the North Carolina Art Museum. So
Okay.
I get a lot of access to the contemporary plus the fine art classics, and it's gorgeous. But they had a special exhibit of Van Gogh. Like you walk through and you get to see his life, you get to hear,
Oh, that's
some of the
awesome.
stories. And I ended up finding out because I went there for my birthday that we had the same birthday. So it was like a little bit more special than usual. So like now I see him through better eyes, and now I have a more deeper found appreciation for him. And I know he had, I think it's called aphasia, where he could see differently. Like, you know how some people taste things and see colors?
Yeah.
In the movie Ratatouille, a lot of the color symbolism that they used for when he would try flavors because the person doing the art had aphasia. So he was able to describe the thing and make it come to light through colors
Yeah,
and
I
different
have that as
patterns of
well.
expression. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And so I am like, now I'm like, what are the possibilities? Like, what can we do with color? What emotion am I trying to evoke now?
Endless.
What do I want to, and I have so many ideas and I'm so excited.
And it's cool too because you could paint one thing and you could paint it a million different ways with color. And like you could paint like say you're doing a butterfly. You could paint
Hmm.
the butterfly, you could paint it like 10 times, do 10 different color palettes, and they're all going to have a different feeling to them. And it's a cool exercise doing stuff like that where it's like you're not having to recreate the wheel every single time with what you're painting or drawing or whatever, and but you're just playing with the color and how it affects things. Like when I was beginning my Prismatic Adventure series, I didn't know what colors I wanted to use, but I started just observing the desert and kind of
Mm.
the colors that popped out at me, the most saturated versions, I went and just got markers of those colors. And it was like a handful of like 7 colors. And I would literally do like a mountain range. I would do it like 30 times. And I would just vary the colors, the shapes, like the arrangement of colors. Like, am I going to have yellow next to purple? Am I going to have it next to green? Like, how am I going to stack these colors up? Like, what is this going to do to the viewer psychologically? Like, what kind of emotions is it going to play with? And like, what's the best arrangement of this? How do I create depth with these colors? And just keeping things limited and not worrying about like having like adding white or black or gray or anything in there. Just straight up, this is the hue I'm using, and just playing with that. And for me, it was super powerful, and it spawned out into like a series where I've done like I don't know like 30 something paintings of kind of the same color palette, and it's cool to see how people react to it and like the emotional experience that they have with like the vibrance of the colors and the arrangement and just playing with those. So I would definitely recommend doing something like that and seeing kind of where it takes you, how other people react to it. Put it online, show it to other people, get people to see it. And even if you don't think it's good, it doesn't matter. Like good is all subjective. It's just about doing something.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. That is one thing that I've learned through my journey of art. Um, Even if you may be your own hardest critic, there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to think your work is beautiful.
Yep,
And they're going to want it. So don't be shy. Lean into it. And I think that's probably one of the most powerful things you could probably say to a budding artist.
absolutely. It's totally true. I mean, like, think about like even Van Gogh. Like, he wasn't quote unquote successful during his lifetime. Like, he didn't make like any money as an artist. And obviously
Mhm.
now his artwork goes for like millions and millions of dollars. And we consider him to be like a master. And he's incredibly talented, but his artwork didn't sell for whatever reason. And
I can actually tell
crazy.
you why it didn't sell. They thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
Like the person who helped him really get into art because they really think he was also schizophrenic and extremely autistic. The guy was just like, he just keeps painting sunflowers. Like, I just don't understand. But next thing you know, sunflowers and the arrangements of the sunflower, like evolution that he did for a while, became one of his most popular pieces of art. And the
Yeah.
most craziest things is that his old art pieces, like the canvas stuff, a lot of his art was lost because the women would actually wear the pattern once he had died because they saw no value. It wasn't until his sister actually started to realize that, oh my God, this is getting traction. There is what is called almond blossoms, one of his most famous art pieces. Actually, you know, it's like an habit. Whoop! There's a couple. He actually partnered with somebody at one point across the pond in Japan because he loved their art style. And so this is kind of like a little bit of like almond
Oh,
blossom.
that's cool.
So he actually ended up picking up a new style, and this is the one that like more people are exposed to, like, oh, he does more stuff that was like different, and it's just crazy to think that there's so many lost art pieces because they didn't appreciate him because he was alive, and it was only after he died that they're like, wow, this stuff is amazing.
Isn't
I'm like,
isn't it? And it's like it's it's so cool because it's like all of us are artists. Everybody is a total creative, but it's like
Mhm.
not everybody wants to embrace it. And like you never know like
Who you'll
who's gonna get
affect, what you'll
inspired.
do.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like I try to encourage everybody I meet like that says they're not an artist, just yeah, you are. Just do your art. Don't compare yourselves to others. Just create, just put it out there and you don't know who it's going to affect or why and like yeah, I think I read that when Van Gogh passed, like everybody was bringing sunflowers for his funeral and he wanted to be known as like the painter of sunflowers.
Oh, he he was. There are some quotes I need to refine them that he had said. It's just like sometimes it really brings a tear to my eye because he was really, really misunderstood. Like he was just a genuine soul that was just hurting and just felt different and was just isolated. And I think that you can see it in his art, especially with the colors that he's chosen, especially, you know, Starry Night. And then there is another one that he does is like a lot of deep blues.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I
there's
I think
another
I have
one.
that one saved in my let me see if I can find it. I was
Like he
just
was going through like a dark time. You know, he was denied by somebody he had like fallen in love with, and I think she was a prostitute if I remember correctly. And like it was just a lot. And then he ended up getting moved to like a psychiatric care, which is the there's a Starry Night came of that one, and there's another one where you see the cypress trees and like there's a almost like
yeah,
this bell tower in the background. But
I had it saved for this class lecture that I'm writing, but I must have oh yeah, here, let me show you.
it's just there, either way, man, I just realized I just have so much to learn and I'm just
Uh
so excited.
this image right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
um, he was just a brilliant man.
Yeah, and it's wild, like his range of work too. Like you have like
Mhm.
these more realistic, and then you can see just like branches off, and then he's found his style, and then he kind of uh, goes back and explores this more realistic with kind of what he's found, and then he's into Starry Night, which is so cool.
This is also when he was in and out of the mental hospital too, so you can see moments of his lucidity
Yeah,
versus moments of when he was more schizophrenic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's even here. He's got the like bandage on his head.
Yeah, that was a little wild.
Yeah,
Probably that. That's for sure. Thank you for taking the time to reach out to us and like,
yeah, no
especially
problem.
me personally, I really greatly appreciate this. I don't think you know, like you actually make quite an impact on me today, so thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And thank you both for coming. And I'm glad I was able to share some information with you. And I hope you definitely enjoyed it. And um, I'll be doing more lectures. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do for the next one, but I'll do another kind of open group discussion. We'll talk about something else. So I'll message you or keep an eye on my Instagram, and I'll post on there for the next one.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Great.
Solar theory, man, it's a wild thing. Like there are sometimes I just don't understand what I'm looking at. I'm like, I know that it looks blue, but it's not blue, it's pink. Why does it look blue though?
Isn't it's so crazy because I did this painting of a they're called the Superstition Mountains, and I was doing like a
Mm,
sunset painting, and the mountains actually kind of glow orange, and the painting came out pretty vibrant orange and purple, and I didn't even actually use like any orange at all in this painting, and there's like no green whatsoever, but the
mm,
cactuses and stuff, they look green. The mountain looks orange, and but it's
Why?
mainly like these mauve colors, and it's just how you stack them up, like using those complementary
Mhm.
colors and how they play with each other, and it's really cool.
It does my head in. It really does. If you
Yeah.
get a chance to go visit Vermont,
Oh
I
yeah,
would
I've been
say
there.
go during leaf peeping season. There are certain spots, like, oh my God, where is it? Heinsberg, I think it is. My friend, like off of his street, has the craziest view where it looks like the mountain is like coming at you.
Oh,
Like
cool.
it comes out at you. It's
Yeah.
so far away, but it's like, oh my God, that is some wild stuff. I wish I could just sit here and paint for hours, but like
Yeah,
I would not have enough paint in
Vermont
all of
is
my
so
arsenal.
scenic.
It is crazy. And then when you look in the distance, all the mountains are like the different ranges of like soft blues and
Yeah.
goes from anywhere from like light blues all the way to purples. It's crazy. It's
Yeah, there's
gorgeous.
endless inspiration in nature for painting and practicing color. I love doing plein air painting. Um, if you haven't done it, I would highly recommend it. It's fun just going out there, and it's a completely different experience than working from photograph, because you're getting to feel and experience those colors, and it's just that moment right then that you're having to paint it and however many hours you're going to sit out there. And so start to finish, you have a painting, and it's it's really cool experience. And I've found that doing it, I'll use far different colors than I would like if I was in the studio trying to paint the exact same thing. And it's a good exercise, I think, for kind of trying to figure out color a little bit more.
Also, just on the same thought training along with the chromotherapy, it's like a form of active meditation. So
Uh-huh.
if you do struggle with any kind of anxiety, that would be something that'd be probably beautiful for you to do to just kind of live in the moment, experience the natural light, and
Yeah.
actually touch grass. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah, there's at LACMA they actually had a an exhibit where it was like this house built in like these rooms inside the museum, and each room was a different color. Like one would be red, yellow, blue, and it was all like the lighting of that, and the walls were all that color. It was really interesting to just like stand in those rooms and see how you react to just like the color overload of it. And
Ooh,
so if you ever see anything like that, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
I'm gonna look for something like that. I think that'd be a good way for somebody who's like emotionally stuck to just kind of like invoke that feeling or like kind of forcibly invoke that feeling and see how you
Absolutely.
handle it.
Yep. Absolutely. Even like there's like red light therapy beds you can go in where it's like almost like a tanning bed, but it's just like a bunch of red lights, and those are kind of cool too. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming, and it was great talking with you all. And um, I'll keep you posted on when the next one happens. All
Thank you.
right.